If the fans abandon Rings of Power now, there will not be a season 2 of this f***ing show. It will be the end of not just Amazon, but all Hollywood. And if the hope of preventing that is not reason enough to reconsider your woke agenda, I suggest you find another.
You know what is always super endearing to the fandom? You know, when you want to appeal, when you need to appeal to the fans of a beloved franchise, do you present them with a new and interesting character and give them time to warm up to them? I mean, that's probably what I would do. But if you're Amazon and you've pissed away $1 billion on a franchise that you are clearly rudderless in delivering, what you do is you have the media write articles to spit on the past characters, including this article in The Guardian, literally entitled, "Elijah Who? The Amazing New Stars of Lord of the Rings." Yeah, arguably the best performance I've ever seen in my life from any actor ever. Elijah Wood as Frodo in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, forget him. Look at this new smooth-faced guy and this girl boss. That's what you really should be caring about. Absolutely disgusting. And we're going to get into that after a quick word from amazing and loyal channel sponsor, Meta PCs. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Meta PCs. Look, you've been around, you know that I've been talking about Meta PCs for a very long time. In fact, it's the primary computer I use. But it's not just because they're a sponsor. It's for so many more reasons. They have fully customizable, configurable PCs and all the hardest to find parts in stock and ready to go. They also have ready to ship PCs ready for you today. Here's a couple reasons why I like Meta PCs. First and foremost, it's veteran ownership. Meta PCs is a veteran-owned business. One of Meta's owners has served both in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in Meta's operations center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. They offer financing. It has 100% US-based sales and support. And when you receive your PC, it's ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to get complicated and set things up. You just plug it all in and you're ready to rock. And on top of that, Meta PCs is offering you, my viewer, a huge discount when you use the link in the description or you use promo code TheQuartering. If you use my code at checkout, not only do you save money, but you support my content and a company that will not bow to cancel culture. So maybe you're not ready to pick up a new computer today, but when you are, remember to go to metapcs.com and use promo code TheQuartering to support me and to save money. And everybody wins. Yeah, I know right now you might not be in the market for a new computer, but when you are, remember that promo code. They've been super good to me. It's the computer I use. It's the laptop I use. It's the one I recommend to friends and family. So check them out. If there's one thing we know about Lord of the Rings of Power, it's that the 8-part series is big. Filmed in New Zealand and rumored budget of $1 billion for season 1 and 2. The show sports a massive battle sequences, hordes of marauding monsters, and special effects, blah, 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 blah. But for all its monumental scale, Rings of Power is still a story about characters. From haughty elves to ale-swilling men, from thatch-bearded dwarves of a new race of eco-friendly proto-hobbits called Harfoots. The cast that showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have assembled is remarkable. A lineup that is short on bankable names unless you count Lenny Henry, but huge on talent and promise. From indie movie mavens to theatrical darlings, from dashing former child actors, one of the alums of other fantasy franchises. We sat down with 4 of them, 2 elves, a dwarf, and a man, to find out how this epic was forged. My favorite part is how the show is not even out yet, and we're being told by The Guardian that these actors and actresses are awesome, girl boss, amazing, super best ever. What would you? Why would you even care about those old characters? Throw them in the trash. Somehow we got the golden ticket, Morford Clark says. Embarking on any major creative project is a leap of faith. For the Welsh actor Morford Clark, Star of the indie film Saint Maud, the leap was larger than most. I moved to New Zealand without knowing which character I was even playing, she said in disbelief. That seems insane now. All we knew was that I was an elf. I never for a moment thought I could be her. Luckily for Clark, her turned out to be Galadriel, the elf queen of the immortalized in all senses by Cate Blanchett in the films, and perhaps the most rounded of Tolkien's women. How did Clark feel about slipping into the silk robe of the world's most venerated actors? I didn't try to get away from it. I watched those films 3 times a year since they came out. I've got them memorized. Isn't it always funny how like the actors and actresses, you know, when they like take part in these franchises, they're always like telling you how big of a fan of the franchise that they are. And maybe it's true in some cases, but I remember a guy named a washed up has-been named Kevin Smith, who was quoted multiple times in multiple articles talking about how amazing and a huge fan that he was of Masters of the Universe, only to see clips from just a few years before coming out where he is openly admitting he never even watched the show. Surely you had to laugh when you're confronted by an actor with a 3-foot beard waving an axe around. Then we have, my dad wishes I played for Barcelona. Oh, he wishes that you played for what? Is that a soccer team? I don't know. Of course, we've got this, you know, we've got Elrond, who looks, I don't know. I don't like the look of him at all. Then we've got, they built a flap in my costume so I could feed my baby. Wow, so cool. Don't want to have her changing on the clock, I suppose, or planning ahead. Not that she's expecting to be easy. Online trolls have rushed to criticize the casting of non-white actors. I'm human, she says. I'm not immune to all that. But Disa is an absolute force. She's a titan. And I'm already getting feedback from other women saying, I see myself in her. My little girl sees herself. It's all about redressing the balance. Oh, I bet it is all about redressing the balance. And exactly who's telling you that? Nobody's seen it. Except for critics who are paid to say they like it. Or they don't get early access, and their entire websites fail. See, that's how the economy of movie critics goes. They get early access, so us plebs have to read about, you know, the show from them, so they get ad revenue. But if they say the show sucks, they suddenly don't get invited back. It's access journalism. It's all garbage. That's why you never expect or you never trust anything you see until you actually see it. Her journey to career-defying fantasy role hasn't been straightforward. Never in all my years did I think anything like this would be possible for me. I'm plus-sized. You're curvaceous women of color. So there just hasn't been that much opportunity. Really? There are plenty of shows featuring, I mean, one of the most popular actresses is a plus-size woman of color. What is it? She was in Ma. She was in so many things. I think she got a big award for, what is her name? Anyway, you know, it's like they're trained to like say this like, wow, I just never, the system was always against me and now I've just overcame it and everyone should love me for that. And, you know, I don't have anything against this woman or really any of the actors. They're just getting paid. That's the one thing that like, I've always wanted to be clear about that. It's like when Kelly Marie Tran was getting allegedly all this hate online, that's not fair. She just took the role. She didn't write the role. She didn't, you know, it's not the actor or actress's fault for getting paid. It's the people behind it, right? They made her character suck, and that's what everyone memed on. But now we're actually found new. What does the $1 billion Rings of Power mean for Amazon Studios? To put it in tokenese, har, the company hasn't yet closed its fingers, Gollum-like around its preciouses, a major water cooler show that lures global viewers en masse. What constitutes a success for Prime is hard to say, but a former Amazon executive says, gives us a little idea. Like Bilbo rousing the dormant Smaug, the company is looking at how many inactive Prime users will be reawakened by Rings of Power. The company also looks at how many new members the show will attract. With the US streaming market reaching saturation, there's more potential subscriber growth in other regions. which explains why Amazon threw splashy premieres not only in LA with Bezos and Jassy in attendance, but also in Mexico City and Mumbai. Other core measures include whether a show awakens a 30-day dormant Prime member who hasn't streamed content in 30 days, the former executive said. So that's interesting. That's an interesting thing to do, or interesting number. So if you haven't, I suppose the goal is that if you get them on the platform and, you know, and get them watching that show, they're maybe more likely to watch other shows that you have to offer. I guess. I assume a price increase is probably part of this. The Rings of Power are a major bet, backed by Bezos himself, but Amazon Studios didn't always have such great ambitions. It's the most expensive TV series ever created. But even in success, we're unlikely to see something that big budget ever again, say experts. The streaming wars are margin slamming enough. And they say, let's look at the comments. It's going to be a train wreck. The trailer doesn't look good at all. Peter Jackson's interpretation and even the 60s version of it look better. As a Lord of the Rings fan, I won't be watching this. Artistic license only goes so far. But the show is a failure already. Every time I see the trailer, it feels way different than the movies, especially when the music plays from the sounds are terrible. Quote, inspired by Tolkien with entire characters and backstories rewritten. Most characters completely new fabrications. This is fan fiction at best. I mean, I suppose people have to kind of understand and remember that there is a giant audience of just normies out there who don't participate in crap online and stuff like that, and Twitter and on YouTube. But they say they basically have everything riding on this. Rings of Power everything's riding on it. Amazon insiders say its $1 billion Lord of the Rings will determine the company's future in streaming. If we can't make it successful, why is Amazon Studios even there? Well, it is to, I guess, take a beloved show and not bother ingratiating yourself. I mean, how many times do we have to teach you this, old man? I mean, the recipe is so simple. Ghostbusters Afterlife did it. What was so hard about that? Yeah, you could gripe about the aesthetic of, the Stranger Things aesthetic and stuff like that, but the fans liked that movie. I mean, I'm not saying it was perfect. It was kind of weird and there were some plot holes, but like it was still good. And like I didn't feel like it was a disgrace like the 2016 version. So we've got 8 days till this comes out. I have a feeling that most people are going to give it a chance. So I guess we'll have to see. The proof will be in the pudding, so to speak. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like on it and subscribe down below. I'll be covering the Rings of Power in its entirety. So you're not going to want to miss a single video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you again real soon.